Welcome back here to episode 10 Motorcycles here with Coach. So today we are going to be working on this 2009 Police Special. This is going to be the winter project. Just going to do a small thing here today. We're going to work on this fuel door. So the fuel door has a key, obviously. What we're going to do is we're going to install the Harley Davidson smooth push button fuel tank console door release. Before I get into it, I wanted to explain. People are like, why would you change the fuel door button from a lock? So the thing that people don't understand, inside this keyhole, it looks round, but what it actually is, there's no tumbler in it. There's no grooves. So this key here, tough to tell, but it has little notches around it. And then the keyway. That's what opens, or excuse me, that's what turns an ignition. So what I'm gonna do here on this 2004, I'm gonna lock it. I'm gonna show you that this key with the fob on it goes in and locks. So that one works that ignition. I'm gonna use this key from this 2004 over on this 2009 to open up my fuel door. So I'm going to stick it in, turn it to the left, and it opens it. So the key actually turns left and right. So that being said, it is not made for this bike. All fuel doors are the same. Any round key will work it. So I just thought I would share that because people are like, oh, what if someone tries to get in? So here I have a multiple set of Harley keys, and I'll demonstrate the same thing. Goes in and turns. In and turns. Grab the next one. These are all for all different Harleys. Turns, opens, and the next one. So for me, instead of actually needing a key to open it, I'm going to now install the Harley Davidson push button fuel door release. So this kit not only comes with the button that goes here, but it's also replacing the hinge. The hinge now will be spring loaded, so when you push it, it'll pop up. And that saves you always pulling your keys out when you go for fuel or even just checking it. But don't get me wrong, for those that don't know, that every Harley key, or any round key for that matter, doesn't have to be a Harley key. Some kids' bicycle lock keys will fit in there. Just something to think about. You think you're protecting yourself, but at the end of the day, any key will work. So if I can make it easier for myself to just get fuel and not be pulling out my keys and stuff, then I'd like to do so. So that's what we're going to do today. I'll get all the tools all ready here and we'll get at it. So here we are back at the 2009, getting set up to do the smooth fuel door button. So here's our kit that we're using. Harley Davidson smooth push button fuel tank console door release. So it comes with a smooth button, a new nut, and a new spring hinge. So I'm going to unlock our door here. Again, just using my multiple Harley keys. I unlock, I'm going to turn it back. So this is held on just with a nut. The nut goes through the fuel door from the keyway. So I'm going to slide a socket on it. Shouldn't be tight. The directions tell you, for those that are doing them, to make sure you don't, oh, look at that. I need a deeper socket. So I will be back to get a deeper socket. So here we are, back with a deep socket now. We got to go over it, so there we go. So that there actually wasn't that tight. Sorry if you couldn't see there. That wasn't actually that tight. Now I'm using a long-armed ratchet, so I'm getting a lot of leverage. So now I'm going to, sorry, it's always tough to do it without a cameraman. Like I say, I don't edit nothing. I just do it with me. And so now I'm just gonna use my socket because it's actually fairly loose. I'm just gonna turn it out by hand. Hopefully it doesn't fall out on the lock side and hit the, so we want to take into consideration the button. The button right here is what locks the door inside that hole right there. So when we put the push button in, we got to make sure the alignment of our push button is facing up. So I'm going to try and sneak this through. Now I should be able to push, there we go, the fuel lock out. I'm gonna have to utilize my arm to hold the camera, maybe. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, so I'm gonna push the button in. Maybe not. There we go. Oh, I didn't even get it. So what I had to do with both hands, I had to push the button in. This is a real easy job, actually. I'm surprised a lot of people don't change it. But I had to push the button in to get it to come through our hole. I'm gonna see if I can use the portable stand to do the rest of the video here, but give me a second. So that being said, I used two hands here. So there's how the lock was. I peeled the nut off. I pushed the button in. I pushed it through and then turn it on an angle to get it out. Now I'll keep this. It's a key, you know, and it's a lock, but it's not really got a tumbler in it, meaning any round key can fit in there to open it up. So, you know, there's really no security there, but it gives people the indication that, oh, it is locked. So I'm going to just set that aside for right now. So now we have just our push button. So as I push the button in, you'll see the lock goes in. So that's what this one is. So now we're going to sneak this one in through the hole. We're going to line it up. I'm going to slide our new nut over. I'm going to run it up by hand. Again, these don't have to be that tight. Again, we want our keyway, excuse me, our lock mechanism to be there because that's what's going in the hole. So I'm going to run that up. Now I'm going to grab my socket. I'm going to use my socket. I'm going to just use it by hand right now. Our hand puts about 15 pounds of torque on things, so things don't have to be too tight. I have a long ratchet on here, so I don't want to go too tight, so I'm going to choke down on it so I'm not using a lot of leverage. I'm just going to tighten it up just a little bit. If I deem that it got loose, I'll use Loctite. I'll take it back off. I'll use blue Loctite, or I even sometimes use Crazy Glue. Crazy Glue works as well. So now I take the cap out. Take the cap out because now I got to get to these two screws. So now there's two screws that are for the rear hinge. So I got to take the cap off so I can get to them. So there's one screw here, one screw there. This part, you want to just be careful that you crack them loose and then use your fingers or the socket. You don't want to drop them down in your fuel tank. That's kind of the key on this one. You could always put a rag in it. I've got a pretty full tank right now, so I don't want to put a rag in it. I could always set one near it. So I'm just using the ratchet, going lefty-loosey to loosen these. Again, a job that the average guy can do himself in kind of a neat way, you know, to start your own customization of your bike just with a button like that. So there's one of the screws, just a little screw. Just gonna set it aside for right now so we don't lose it. You got to use the same screws in the kit. You don't get new ones. So now I'm just gonna pull the fuel door out. You can see where the two screws screwed in. I'm just gonna set this aside as well. Here's our non-spring-loaded hinge right here. So it just goes around the bar. That's all it does. So that one there, because we use the key which locks into the lock, and what it was doing was your key actually is kind of like your handle. So now we're gonna leave that, oh geez, don't go down there too far. We'll use our needle nose pliers and pull that out. Fell right in. Oh, that's not good. Now we're underneath of our actual tank here. Well, we'll just take a little break there for a second. I gotta find a magnet to shove down in there so I can get that. Things happen even in your own garage when you're doing things. Okay, so after that, I had to undo the one screw in the front of my center console. I had to remove the seat. I had to take the rear screw of my console out and to remove the old spring, which is okay. I got the new spring now. I got our lid. And nonetheless, it's just one screw underneath the seat. Center console comes off. I'm going to be replacing this center console with an all black one. So we'll get it off again. But when I do take it off, I'm not gonna have to take off the fuel cap anyway. So we're gonna finish this step anyways. So there's two notches in our fuel cap door for the inside, which goes right on this stud. So I'm gonna slide that in like so. Right now it's actually leaning off the back of my control because there's no spring in there. I'm gonna grab one screw. Now I'm a little concerned, am I gonna drop this screw in the fuel tank? Well, I could go get a rag, and I probably should, so I will. Put a rag just over top of it. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the new spring, Again, with the, it's tough to tell, with the little arches towards the fuel cap. Like so. And it's going to take a little bit of push to close it until it gets used to it, because now there's a spring there to help pop it open. I'm not using any Loctite on this. If I feel like it's coming loose, well then I'll add some. But until then, I'm not going to add any Loctite. Jeez, look at that, I almost dropped her. Now I'm going to grab the other screw. When you got big hands and little screws, it's tough to work with sometimes, but when you're done in the end, you're always happy with the outcome. So, like I say, I just have had a lot going on. I don't get out to the garage as much as I'd like. Next, we'll be finishing the 6-speed and a 5-speed for the FXR build. That's coming along. Got everything. I just got to clean the case. You know, like I say, when you like a motorcycle building to be your passion, sometimes you just can't make your passion your full-time job. So I've got to, you know, get up, go to work, and then you come home and you got the kids and you just have some other things going on. So you don't really feel like maybe getting out in the garage that day and doing something. But when I do, I don't edit nothing. You know, I may stop the camera to go get a tool, go get something. This time I did it, take the center console off, which it didn't bother me because I'm going to replace that with black, and I'd like to show people on how to do that one. So I just kind of shortchanged it today, but that's okay. So now those are tight. I'm going to put the cap back on now. Again, the reason why I took the cap off was so I could get my socket on there, because with it snap closed, I can't get the socket on there, so it helps to remove the cap. Now we'll push down. There we go. Not as spring-loaded as I'd like it to be, but at the end of the day, oh, that one's not tight yet. Always good to test it after. You don't want to do them too tight, but as I can see right here, as I move my gasket, or excuse me, when I move the hinge in and out, I can tell that it's not tight enough, so we're going to tighten this one up just a little bit. When there's small bolts like this, it's always skeptical on how tight it should go. Okay, now we'll put our cap back in. Now we push it down. See how it's spring-loaded there? So we're going to push it down. Now we'll push it up. There it goes. Yeah, working perfect. So everything's tight there. We're going to push it down. So you got to push a little bit on the hop to get it down because it's spring-loaded. Once you open and close it a few times, you'll actually realize that, oh, I don't have to push that hard. But right now, because the spring's brand new, so you won't allow me to close it, so I got to physically push down, which we don't mind doing because we want it to stay down when we're riding. Then we push with our button on the push button, flings right open. Now I'm at the gas station. I don't got to pull a key out. I don't got to worry about someone else using their key, which I never really was. I get bothersome sometimes that I had to, you know, if I had my key in the tour pack or key in underneath my raincoat, I always had to get it out. This way now, I just push the button, and there we go. Now I just open it up, and we're laughing. So I'll push that back down. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but when I push it down, you'll actually hear this button click in. So now it's in there, not coming out. But that's all we got for you today. I'm going to move the camera over here. Again, I'm trying to learn some better ways and how to do things. I did get some microphones that I'm going to be playing around with here in the future when I have someone else help me with a few jobs when we get back on this FXR. But for this 2009, we just got the push button installed. Flips right open. We got to make sure when we push it down that our lock goes inside the hole. So spring load it, you can see it's being held up. I push down, then you hear it lock. It's locked now. So that's the Harley Davidson smooth push button fuel tank console door. You can see the screw there. This one is rusty that I took out there to take my console off to get the old spring that fell inside my console. Things happen. Here's the rear bolt seat. I took that one out, pulled my seat back. Then there's a screw right here. This console lifted right up. I grabbed it. Underneath here's your vent tubes and overflow drain tube for the fuel tank. And everything stayed in place. And I just grabbed it, set it aside. Like I say, this one, the engine's already done up. We got a Reinhardt throttle body on it. We've got the 2-in-1 already. So I've gotten a 19-inch enforcer wheel. I also just had, from Hogworks, I just had delivered just while I was doing this filming. I'm putting on chopped rear saddlebags, chopped rear fender. I'm putting on rear lights that go in between the bags and the fender, and I put a chopped rear fender on. And then I'm putting Olin's rear suspension. This is going to be the front fender. This is actually a steel fender. It's going to go on the front, and the paint job will stay as a police special, but it'll have the chopped bags. I'll go like this in the chopped fender. I'm going to leave it so I can put a tour pack on it so I can still cruise it. I'm going to do a little cheater on it. I'm going to remount the police handle on top of the bag. So just this puck here. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because I want it to stay looking like a police bike, but that it gets up and goes and handles really good and performs really good. So stay tuned with that. Sorry, today's camera footage and angles were a little off, but hope you guys learned something. And this Harley push button smooth fuel door console is something anyone can add to their vehicle. No sponsorship here. These are just things that I buy, parts that I buy, that I use. But looking forward to showing you next on the transmission on the FXR. Stay tuned, like, subscribe. Again, I don't have the comments open. I'm not posting enough to get paid or anything, but some people might be able to use this. I don't edit it. It's however long it takes, it takes. So appreciate everyone who's watching and subscribing, and stay tuned. Okay, Coach is out. See ya.